Good morning, boys and girls. This morning we are going to read together. Well, you're going to listen while I read this fiction picture book. It's one of my favorite books. It's called The Sweetest Fig, and it is by the author, Chris Van Allsburg. He is also the author of The Polar Express. So I hope you enjoy this book as much as I do. All right, here we go. Monsieur Bibeau, the dentist, was a very fussy man. He kept his small apartment as neat and clean as his office. If his dog Marcel jumped on the furniture, Bibeau was sure to teach him a lesson. Except on Bastille Day, the poor animal was not even allowed to bark. So if you've never heard of Bastille Day, it is a holiday that they celebrate in France. And you'll notice the man had quite a French-sounding name, as did his dog. Here we go. One morning, Bibeau met an old woman waiting at his office door. She had a toothache and begged the dentist to help. "But you have no appointment," he told her. The woman moaned. Bibeau looked at his watch. Perhaps it was time to make a few extra francs. So in France, that's what they call their money. He took her inside and looked in her mouth. "This tooth must come out," he said with a smile. So you should be thinking, why is he smiling? Why would a dentist smile that this woman is in pain and that her tooth needs to come out? When he was done, the dentist said, "I will give you some pills to kill the pain." So here he is with his patient, and look at the smile on his face. The old woman was very grateful. "I can't pay you in money, but I have something much better." She took 2 figs from her pocket and handed them to Bibeau. "Figs?" he said angrily. "These figs are very special," the woman whispered. "They can make your dreams come true." She winked at him and put her finger to her lips. It was clear to Bibeau that the woman was crazy. He set the figs down and took her by the arm. When she reminded him about the pills, he said, "I'm sorry, only for paying customers," and shoved her out the door. So some of you may have eaten fig spread. It's like fig jelly before. You can put it on crackers or toast. Or if the fig is ripe, you can just cut into it and eat it, and it's very sweet. So he was going to give her medicine so she wasn't in pain, but because she didn't have any money, he refused. That evening, Bibeau took his little dog to the park. Poor Marcel loved to sniff the tree trunks and bushes, but whenever he stopped, Bibeau would pull sharply on the leash. Just before going to bed, the dentist had a small snack. He sat at his dining room table and ate one of the figs the old woman had given him. It was delicious. Possibly the finest, sweetest fig he'd ever had. So here he is, cutting the fig, and there's his adorable dog on the ground. In the morning, Bibeau dragged Marcel down the stairs for his morning walk. The steep steps were hard for the short-legged dog, but Bibeau wouldn't think of carrying his pet. He hated to get Marcel's white hairs on his beautiful blue shirt. Now, let me tell you, boys and girls, my yard is quite muddy these days because we're having work done in our yard. And little Miss Abby, she's been so muddy that we've had to wipe her paws with a warm face cloth. We've given her baths this weekend, and this owner won't even pick up his dog up and down the stairs. Okay, here we go. As he walked along the sidewalk, Bibeau could not help noticing people looking at him. They are admiring my suit, he thought. But when Bibo saw his reflection in the window of a cafe, he stopped in horror. He was dressed only in his underwear. There he was in his boxer shorts. Tell me that wouldn't be embarrassing. The dentist turned and ran into an alley. Sacre bleu, he thought. What has happened to my clothes? Then he remembered the dream he'd had last night. In his dream, he'd stood in front of that very cafe, dressed in his underwear. Something else had happened in his dream, and Bibo struggled to recall it. Marcel, looking out from the shadows of the alley, began to bark. The dentist looked up and saw the rest of his dream come true. So here they are hiding in the alley. An alley is just a narrow spot between two buildings. So let's see what the rest of his dream was, because it's coming true as I read. No one noticed Bibo as he ran home in his underwear. All the eyes of Paris were fixed on the Eiffel Tower, which slowly drooped over as if it were made of soft rubber. Bibo understood now that the old woman with the figs had told him the truth. He would not waste the second fig. So look at here. The Eiffel Tower is drooping. Okay. Over the next few weeks, as reconstruction of the Eiffel Tower began, the dentist read dozens of books on hypnotism. Each night before he went to sleep, he gazed into the mirror and whispered over and over, Bibo is the richest man on earth. Bibo is the richest man on earth. So I hope you're starting to think about what's important to this man. Soon in his dreams, that's exactly what he was. As he slept, the dentist saw himself steering his speedboat, flying his airplane, and living in luxury on the Riviera. Night after night, it was the same. So look at his yacht. He has a big ship. He's sleeping. One evening, Bibo took the second fig from his cupboard. It would not last forever. Tonight, he thought, is the night. He put the ripe fruit on a dish and set it on his table. Tomorrow, he would wake up the richest man in the world. He looked down at Marcel and smiled. The little dog would not be coming along. In his dreams, Bibo had Great Danes. And if you've never seen a Great Dane, they are great in size. Some of the Great Danes I've seen, they're almost like mini horses, but they're so gentle. As the dentist reached into the cupboard to take out some cheese, he heard the crash of breaking china. He turned to see Marcel standing on a chair with his front paws on the table, chewing the last of the fig. Oh, this naughty dog. Oh, boy. Bibo was furious. He chased the dog around the apartment. When Marcel ran beneath the bed, Bibo yelled at him, "Tomorrow I'll teach you a lesson you'll never forget." Then the dentist, angry and heartbroken, went to sleep. Ooh. Yikes. I wonder what lesson, how he's going to discipline the dog. When he woke up the next morning, Bibo was confused. He was not in his bed. He was underneath it. Suddenly, a face appeared in front of him. His own face. "Time for your walk," it said. "Come to Marcel." A hand reached out and grabbed him. Peebo tried to yell, but all he could do was bark. Do you get what happened, boys and girls? They traded places. And that's the end of the book. I love this book because I love when people such as him, I love when their actions are punished. So, in our activity that we're going to do today, we are going to talk about character traits, okay? And those are describing words that you can use for the characters in your books. And some character traits are very positive, right? So you would want these things said about you. Some are negative and don't mean good traits at all. And you probably would not like these traits matched up with you. So here's what we're going to do today. You are going to need your scissors, and let me go over these words, okay? So the traits that they have here, by the way, there are 12 of them: determined, optimistic, dainty, patriotic, gullible, pessimistic, imaginative, malicious, bashful, defiant, considerate, and studious. So what you're going to do first is you're going to cut out each of these. And I don't expect that you will know what all of these words mean. So, you are going to sort your character traits. So you'll put this piece of paper down, and some of them you might not know what they mean. If you do not know what they mean, they are going to go in the unknown pile. And what I would like you to do is write down those words that are unknown to you. That means you don't know what they mean. If a trait is positive, I would like you to put it in the positive category and write down. So not only put the card in the positive pile, I also want you to write down the word. If something's a negative trait, meaning not good, I'd like you to, and you can either see the smiley faces and the frown, sorry. Papers are uneven and it's hard to point to things when looking in the camera. So you have a positive trait and a negative trait, put them in their piles, and also write down the words. Neutral traits just mean it's a character trait. It's not a good trait or it's not a bad trait. It's just in the middle somewhere. So I would like you to cut the cards out. You will put them in the pile you think they belong, and you will also be writing the words. Because once you're done with the 12 cards, you will be recycling those, but I will be able to see your words written there. And then we're going to talk about them Tuesday afternoon, okay? So after you do this, I want you to fill in the character map for Mr. Peebo. Okay, and we will talk about it Tuesday afternoon because this is a book that I love. Okay, so good luck, work slowly, and if you need to ask me any questions at all, feel free.